subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
What's going on, boxing fans? It's Backchat TV and I'm back with another video. So, Errol Spence and Derrick James seem to have parted ways. This is coming from reports, rumours I should say, all over the internet so far. I had a feeling this was coming anyway. It hasn't been confirmed by anyone, but there have been some cryptic kind of messages. Errol Spence has said a few little things about he needs to find a new home and things like that. Obviously he could be talking, well, he's not talking about moving networks. I doubt he's talking about that, but he could be. But people are pretty sure that he's talking about a split with Derrick James. Now, I've heard a few things from someone who knows Anthony Joshua. It's quite a unique take. Anthony Joshua obviously was training with Derrick James, now back in the UK. But the person who knows Anthony Joshua, who actually trained in Texas a few times, you know, he had something to say to me personally. And basically, the rumor is, which most people know about, that it had something to do with money. Now, the thing is, there's a few issues going on with them splitting, which has been going on for a little while now, since the Terence Crawford loss. Now, what often happens when a fighter loses, especially a fight of this magnitude, it was a huge fight. What often happens is it's kind of like a death. It's actually a really big deal because the fighters are unbeaten. They often base their whole persona on being an unbeaten fighter. Errol Spence, a huge star, man down. He's got so many fans who never thought that Terence Crawford could beat him in a million years. His family never thought he would lose. Derrick James didn't think he would lose. So many people had faith in him. No one thought the fight would be close, on Errol Spence's side at least. And so when you lose emphatically, like the way Errol Spence did, everything's just up in the air. Everything collapses basically. And this is what we're kind of seeing around Errol Spence. Everything collapsing, his relationship with Derrick James somewhat collapsing. I'm going to get onto why that is. And, just with the injuries and medical bills because of the injuries and having to take time out. He never turned up for his fellow fighters like Jermell Charlo when he had his fight. He didn't want to be seen. It's kind of like a depression almost. You can understand why. It's a big deal. It's the biggest fight of your life. Even Errol Spence's mother was talking about it in an interview, and she said that he always speaks about the fight and it meant a lot to him. This is before he fought Terence Crawford. So it was a really big deal. It's obvious that he's going to take it hard being beaten, like in the way that he was beaten. And the fallout from this is that you either get over it and deal with it, or you tend to kind of look for excuses for why it happened. Errol Spence is a very stand-up guy. I always say that about him. But I feel like this has been a really difficult pill to swallow, and he's clutching at certain things to hang on to for why this happened. Now, he has got every reason to, because he's not in 100% health. It doesn't matter what you say, after that car accident, you can't be 100%. We saw him laying in the hospital bed. It doesn't matter how much you recover, you're going to have some kind of damage. You're not going to be yourself. And, he said it himself with the damage to his eye, the retina, and all sorts of injuries. We know he's having a lot of difficulties with injuries. So it's obvious that he's going to put some of the blame on these injuries for why he didn't perform his best. I can't say he's wrong, can't say he's right. It's fair enough. It's not like, he never had any accidents and this happened and you can't blame it on anything else. So, he is clutching at this a little bit. One thing about a lot of top fighters is that when they go through a really bad loss like this, if the trainer has taken on new talent and is, really quite busy, a lot of fighters move to different trainers because they don't like to share the trainer with a lot of different high-profile fighters. Believe it or not, you would think that a lot of high-profile fighters like to train all together. They don't. They like to be the center of attention. They're paying a lot of money for these trainers, and they want all of their attention. It doesn't matter that Derrick James and Errol Spence are like family. After a loss like this, Errol Spence will want Derrick James to be able to focus almost all his time on him so that this doesn't happen again. And Derrick James can't do that because he took on Anthony Joshua, heavyweight superstar. He took on Ryan Garcia, another superstar. You know, we know he's got Jamal Charlo, and then, Errol Spence will be in there as well. And he probably felt as if he's not getting the kind of premium training, knowledge time with Derrick James like he should be. And maybe he felt like this way, but it wasn't really, it compounded after he lost. You know, there were some talks that he was probably a little bit unhappy that maybe there's some things he would have liked to have done in camp. And this is one of the reasons why he lost. He probably felt as if, I'm light years behind Terence Crawford, and this is because of my trainer. My trainer's not showing me enough things. And I think he was probably just a bit unhappy, but he doesn't want to say that. Now, this is complete speculation. This is just my thoughts. I believe that he is a bit upset with Derrick James for not doing more to give him a good chance of winning. Because when they were in there in the ring with Terence Crawford, there was a huge skill gap, to be honest. With a lot of basic fundamentals, there was a huge skill gap. And I think Errol Spence will rewatch the tape and kind of be embarrassed and be like, why am I doing these basic things wrong? I think a little bit of that Derrick James has to kind of be accountable for. So there is a little bit of animosity, I think, deep down in Errol Spence, that Derrick James really didn't do enough as a trainer. That's just speculation, but I believe that might be what's going on. The second thing we're going to speak about, maybe the most important thing, is the rumoured split over money. Obviously, I don't know for definite what's happened, but what's likely is that when two fighters have a contract, what often happens is that the trainer gets, a percentage of the fight purse. You only give the trainer a percentage of the fight purse. That's actually a contract that you have with the trainer. That's all trainers. But with high-profile fighters, they often give their trainers bonuses. It's actually very common that a high-profile fighter like Errol Spence will give a long-term trainer bonuses every fight. Because what happens is that they get more money every fight. Every time they win, their purses double and triple and stuff like that. So, if you got £5,000 for a fight and the trainer was supposed to get 1 million, let's say, and then your next fight you got 15 million, you would give that 1 million still, that same purse, that split, or the percentage of that. But sometimes you would give extra on the back end to a trainer that because you become family with the trainer. You've got long camps, day in, day out with the trainer. You become quite close, and like Errol Spence and Derrick James are like family. So for Errol Spence to earn so much money on the back end, obviously he would give Derrick James a part of that back end money, and it would be very important for Derrick James, for his family. He would have expected that Errol Spence would do that because he earned, I don't know how many millions from the fight with Terence Crawford. But instead, he probably didn't get that. It's rumoured that he didn't get anything from the back end. He just got the basic purse split, the basic purse percentage. And I think there was some animosity over that. Maybe Derrick James said something, or it came up that, it was kind of a little bit like a slap in the face that he didn't get paid anything from Errol Spence. And I think part of that is because when you lose, it's kind of funny to say this, but there's no worse feeling than to pay someone more money when you lost. Because it's all well and good when you think you're going to win, and when you're flying high and you've got a spectacular win over a fighter. and you give your trainer extra money. But when you lose, what's the incentive to give your trainer? You know, you lose and then your trainer is expecting a bonus. It's like you feel inside like, I don't want to pay you. I didn't even want to pay you any money. I lost. You know what I mean? Now that sounds very selfish, but a lot of fighters, you know, like I said, it's their livelihood, it's their ego, it's everything. You know, so to lose and then expect more money, Errol Spence probably thought, you know what, you should just be lucky that I'm just giving you your percentage purse. That's all you're really worth. And I think Derrick James didn't like that. So it felt like a slap in the face. You know, Derrick James taking time out from his family to train Errol Spence, regardless of the outcome. So he's seeing it like, you know, you made how much million off the back end and you didn't give me any, you know. So I think that's really where the animosity is coming from. And then added to that now, I think, you know, because of that, maybe Derrick James made his feelings known a little bit by concentrating more on, you know, Garcia and other fighters. And I think Errol Spence, you know, he didn't really talk much about the rematch due to the fact that he was still waiting for maybe more money from him. And I think things just broke down from there. And a lot of the times, this is something quite common. You know, when a big fighter loses, like I said, there's a big fallout. People want money. People don't want to pay because they lost. People don't want to come back to a camp where they've got other people there. They're no longer unbeaten, but they're training with other unbeaten fighters, and it's just like an ego thing. You know, you have to kind of leave and go with someone else where you can be the big star. Errol Spence doesn't want to come back to a camp. Everyone who used to look up to him as the best fighter, one of the best fighters in the world, now they're seeing him get completely dominated. He's no longer unbeaten, but he's training with unbeaten fighters. And you know, it's just not really a good look. And then you've got Derrick James wanting a bonus off you, even though he never even trained you to win. You know, I don't know if that sounds ridiculous, but a lot of these things happen. So egos are really important. I think Errol Spence is looking for a new trainer so that he can feel like a star and be like the center of attention in that new camp with that new trainer. So this is what I think is going on. Do they have a contract that he should get money from the back end? I'm not sure. Maybe there is a contract, but it's much more likely that it's like a verbal contract, you know, that, you know, it's just something expected. Every time Errol Spence got money on the back end, he would give Derrick James a bonus. And I guarantee you he gave Derrick James a bonus almost every fight because they're like family, they share everything. And this was the first fight where he lost and he probably didn't give him a bonus, and Derrick James just saw that as a slap in the face. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Is this sour grapes, you know? Because what you got to remember is that Errol Spence doesn't have to pay Derrick James a bonus. He doesn't have to. A bonus is not in the contract. A percentage of the fight purse is in the contract. Bonuses are completely up to the fighter, but what often happens is that, you know, it becomes part of your regime. You know, Errol Spence, I guarantee you, is probably always giving Derrick James a bonus every single fight. Maybe with the exception of some stay busy fights which weren't that high profile. But you know, if you look at all of his fights, he consistently got more money, and I guarantee you, Derrick James got bonuses. You know, literally, just he could almost expect to get a bonus from a guy like Errol Spence, who's always growing in popularity. He was always getting more money off the back end. If you look at his last fights with Ugas and Danny Garcia, you know, all these fights would have been bigger and bigger fights. So I think Derrick James just always got big fights. And another thing you have to remember, the trainers are building up and banking on these big fights in the same way that the fighters are. It's part of their career as trainers. This was Derrick James's biggest night against Terence Crawford. He was looking forward to the best performance. He was looking forward to the accolades of being one of the best trainers. He was looking forward to his biggest bonus ever. You know, maybe the bonus being bigger than his percentage wage. You know, this is a big deal. He was looking forward to this in the same way that Errol Spence was looking forward to it. And it all failed. Errol Spence lost in the worst way, but he got paid in the best way. And then he went flying around the world with his girlfriend and probably didn't even mention anything to Derrick James about the fight because, you know, he probably was just unhappy with everything. He just paid him his basic wage and disappeared. And I think that didn't sit well with Derrick James. He disappeared. He didn't say much to him. He hardly spoke with him after the loss. You know, Derrick James obviously wanted to speak with him, probably about his bonus. And Errol Spence didn't mention anything about it because, you know, when you lose, you don't want to be paying anyone any more money than you need to. You know, he probably just paid Derrick James his normal wage, like I said, and that was it. Don't want to speak to no one else. Don't even mention where's my bonus, you know. And I think it's two different perspectives. Derrick James will see it as he's been training hard, taking time out of his family to get him ready for his Terence Crawford fight. And it was a big night for him, just like it was a big night for Errol Spence. He should have been paid. They were looking forward to this big fight and this back-end money. And only Errol Spence got the back-end money and didn't give him the bonus. So Derrick James, like I said, looks at that as a massive slap in the face for all the work he's done. Whereas Errol Spence is the fighter. He's looking at it as if, like, you should have done more. I lost. Don't even speak to me about bonus. You know what I mean? Just be happy with the money you got, because you don't pay people bonuses for losing. You know, a bonus is for a exceptional performance as a trainer. Derrick James just didn't do that because they didn't win. So it might seem a bit selfish. I don't know where I stand on this. You know, being the kind of person I am, I'd probably still give him a bonus even though if I lost, you know. But to be honest, maybe he did give him a bonus, but it wasn't what Derrick James expected based on the amount of money that Errol Spence earned, basically. Let me know what you think. I don't want to ramble on. Do you think that's fair? Do you think Errol Spence should have given him a huge bonus even though he lost? It is rumoured to be about money, and it is rumoured to be about the bonus. It's going to be difficult for Derrick James to try and sue him. I heard some people say Derrick James is trying to sue him. In that case, if he's trying to sue him for the money, then maybe there is something written in a contract about him earning a percentage of the back-end money as well. So if in that case, then that kind of changes things. Errol Spence would actually owe him part of the bonus of the back-end money, and it's not just an arbitrary kind of bonus that Errol Spence can decide on. That would be something different. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I'm sure we'll hear that as things develop. But let me know what you think in the comments. This is quite interesting. Is Errol Spence a selfish person, or is he totally within his rights to pay whatever bonus he wants to, if that is indeed the case? I'm on to the next one.
I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?